Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the Harry Potter films in the context of money. Now, at the end of the day, in spite of all of the magic that the Harry Potter films introduced, we do have to remember that these films needed to make money in order to continue. If the films flopped, then we wouldn't have gotten any more. The books were a massive success, but that certainly didn't ensure the success of the films, as we've seen plenty of film adaptations fail in other franchises. In November 2001, the film adaptations of Harry Potter beginning with Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This was the beginning of a new era, and a market for film dominated by JK Rowling's works. Over the course of time, 20 years to be exact, with 10 films released to date, including Fantastic Beasts, the Harry Potter franchise has collectively grossed over $9.18 billion in the box office, making it the third most successful film franchise behind Star Wars and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, with all of that said, there must have been some films that did better than others, right? The best books didn't necessarily end up being the best films, and some of the best films ended up being a challenger for their book counterpart. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking the Harry Potter films by their box office earnings, deciding once and for all which film was most successful. Let's get started. 10. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. The second installment of the Fantastic Beasts series, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, was released in 2018. It was the follow-up to the introductory Fantastic Beasts film, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which was released 2 years prior. The Fantastic Beasts films haven't received too much love since their inception, and their box office earnings pale in comparison to most of the Harry Potter films, but that didn't entirely stop the success of the film. Despite all of the hate that The Crimes of Grindelwald got, it still has a 6.5 rating on IMDb, and successfully grossed over $650 million worldwide. Not quite as bad as it was painted out to be. I should add that I actually enjoyed the film, just not nearly as much as the original films. 9. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. The Prisoner of Azkaban was the third installment in the Harry Potter series and was released in 2004. It followed The Chamber of Secrets, which was released just 2 years prior. I was surprised by the position of this film for 3 reasons. First of all, it fell behind one of the Fantastic Beasts films, which seems odd given how popular the original franchise is relative to the new films. Second of all, the Prisoner of Azkaban book was great. Thirdly, the film has an average rating of 7.9 on IMDb from over 500,000 votes. With all of that said, however, the film still wasn't a flop, grossing more than $797 million worldwide. 8. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was the first film installment in the new Fantastic Beasts franchise and was released in 2016. The release of the film was quite exciting, as it came 5 years after the last Harry Potter film, Deathly Hallows Part 2, was released, ending the veritable Harry Potter drought. Despite an abundance of negative reviews, the film still ended up garnering a score of 7.3 on IMDb, a score of 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, and grossing more than $814 million worldwide, beating out The Prisoner of Azkaban. I very much enjoyed the film, and though it had a different feel from the original Harry Potter films, I can appreciate it as its own entity. 7. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was the second installment in the Harry Potter film franchise, and was released just 1 year after the first film in November of 2002. The film was a massive success, and was a great follow-up from The Philosopher's Stone, which was released just 1 year prior. To date, the film has a score of 7.4 on IMDb and a very respectable 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. With a budget of $100 million, filmmakers took this production very seriously, and fortunately, it paid off, as the film ended up grossing more than $879 million worldwide. 6. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire was the fourth installment in the Harry Potter film franchise, and was released in the summer of 2004, following the less successful Prisoner of Azkaban, which came 1 year prior. Though fans showed less interest in the film leading up to this one, it certainly didn't stop them from flocking to the theatres the following year. The Goblet of Fire received a 7.7 on IMDb and an amazing 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, making it the most successful film, score-wise, in the list so far. With an increased budget of $150 million, the film ended up grossing more than $896 million worldwide, narrowly beating out The Chamber of Secrets by $17 million. 5. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince was the 6th installment in the Harry Potter film franchise and was released in 2009, with filming beginning as early as 2007. The film followed The Order of the Phoenix, which was released 2 years prior. At the time of the film's release, it broke the record for the biggest single-day worldwide gross, earning $394 million in just 5 days. The film went on to gross $934 million in total, becoming the then 8th highest grossing film of all time. Despite the film's commercial success, many book fans did not take to this film. However, that certainly didn't stop the film's overall success, earning a 7.6 on IMDb and 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. The budget for this film was an astounding $250 million. 4. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix was the 5th installment of the Harry Potter film franchise and was released in 2007, coming 2 years after the Goblet of Fire in 2005. The film boasted an impressive $150 million budget, but thanks to Harry Potter's massive history of commercial success, was able to open with $333 million in just its first 5 days. The film ended up with a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.5 on IMDb, as well as a staggering $942 million in total box office earnings. Interestingly enough, however, Warner Bros. Reported a net loss for the film of $167 million, the reason being a bad case of Hollywood accounting. 3. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was the very first installment of the Harry Potter film franchise and was released in 2001. This film was particularly special as it set the standard for the films in the years to come. If you're my age, or anywhere near my age, then this film was probably a huge part of your childhood and brings with it an immense level of nostalgia. Despite this being the very first film, filmmakers still didn't spare any expense and worked within a hefty $125 million budget. The film ended up with a 7.6 on IMDb, 81% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a staggering $975 million in total box office earnings. 2. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 was the 7th installment in the Harry Potter film franchise and was released in 2010, following The Half-Blood Prince. The film boasted an immense $250 million budget and follows the trio in their penultimate struggles against the forces of Voldemort. The film ended up with an impressive 7.7 on IMDb, 77% on Rotten Tomatoes, and over $977 million in total box office earnings, narrowly beating out The Philosopher's Stone. 1. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. In perfect harmony, the final installment of the Harry Potter film franchise, The Deathly Hallows Part 2, ended up making the most money of all of the films. The film was released in 2011, just 1 year after Part 1, and upon being released claimed the worldwide weekend box office record, earning $483.2 million. This was the first film to pass the billion marker, and over its life ended up grossing more than $1.3 billion worldwide. And that's it for this video. Do you guys think that this order makes sense in terms of the film's success? This certainly isn't how I'd rank the films in terms of preference, but I'd like to hear what you guys think. Comment your top 10 down below. Until next time, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.